Right, so I'm in Battersea Park, and I'm on this little road bit. This bit here is really quite high, and the park is sort of lies below. Now, this area of Battersea was called Battersea Fields. It's been landscaped. It was landscaped in the middle of the 19th century when the Victorians decided to create public spaces for the people for their health, and so that they could parade, which is what they used to do. They just used to dress up and walk around and show off their stuff, and they pretty much do that now. Showing off now is more about the dog you have, where you live, your accent, what your running clothes are, you know, all this sort of stuff. Everybody's like, and these trees look quite deep buried, and these are probably put up when they landscaped the park. Now, in the mid 20th century, in the 70s and the 60s, I think, they had a funfair in Battersea Park, which was much loved by the locals, and there's quite a few pictures of it, and there was a grotto in it called Schweppes Grotto. Now, I found this rocky crag thing down there when I was here the other day, and I found out about the grotto, and it was built from this artificial stone. I can't remember the name of it, but I will find it to talk about later on in the video. So I'm going to head off down the slope here with the dog, who's here and just got herself a clean bill of health. Have a look at her amputated tail. My light is there. But that happened. She has a skin problem, but she's what's up? Hey? What's up with you? She's not the brightest dog. Right, off I go and see what I can find. So I'm at the bottom of that little slope now, so you can see that Battersea Park has been flattened and landscaped. Sloping lawns, all these tennis courts, fountains, all sorts of stuff. And then you've got these sort of anomalous hills. Maybe they were just sort of put here so that people could have some sort of elevation, or maybe they just weren't cleared. This is how deep it was, or maybe mud was dumped here. Who knows? But let me show you this rocky outcrop thing down here. Dog. Well, I'm lost. I think I've taken the wrong path. There's lots of windy paths, so I might have to backtrack. But I just wanted to show you these trees. There's another one up there, and they've got no... See? There's nothing going on. They're just straight into the ground. Which means that some of them are buried quite deep here, and all this here that sort of goes up, and there's lots of sort of high mounds everywhere and paths going up. So either they landscaped it by putting in a lot of mud and dirt to make the little hills, or they were already here. Let's carry on anyway. See if I can find this place. I can't remember walking this way last time, so I think I'm on the wrong side, but it's interesting still. Well, I'm just going to come in here and give you some information about this Schweppes Grotto, because it's absolutely fascinating. I've got other information about other stuff as well, but I think I might have to do a whole new video on Battersea Park. So this is the grotto, and Battersea Park was called Battersea Fields before. They landscaped it in the middle of the 18th century, and they used this stone called Pulhamite, which was artificial stone, and it was used to create their own stone works, and also to sort of like redefine existing structures. So I'm not entirely sure what this was all about, because the Pulhams of Broxbourne, this company of high repute, used their own stone to develop water cascades, grottos and rocky streams. So they said that Battersea Park was the most romantic spot in or near London, and then there were problems with water supply, so they put this pump house up, which they say was constructed in 1861, which is what that says, but I don't know about that. We'll look at that another time. So this grotto was built, and when it was built for the Royal Festival, the 1951 Festival of Britain, and Lord Strabolgi says in the Houses of Parliament or whatever, what age limit is there to the use of the underground grotto and the series of other grottos? So this comment is interesting because it suggests more than one grotto, a point that needs to be borne in mind when identifying the location of the Schweppes grotto. So Battersea Park is full of all these sort of mounds of artificial rock and questionably real rock. So when they went into this grotto, and this is like a souvenir tag from 1951, it was called the Grotto of the Four Winds, and people who have been to it say they can't find any photographs of it, no information about it, and certainly no photographs of the inside of it, and it sounds unbelievable. And the fact that it was made in 1951 and there's no photographs of it is a bit sniffy to me. So you entered the first cave, air, climbing a circular path, passing niches to the four winds. With the north wind came the howling of wolves, the scent of pine forests and the jingle of sleigh bells. Next the east wind, where eastern music and temple bells greeted the visitor with the odour of spices. The south wind came with the sound of tom-toms and jungle noises and the scent of flowers. Then the west wind with the smell of ozone and seaweed, seagulls calling, with other sea sounds including foghorns. The second cave of fire was similarly dramatic. Visitors crossed a bridge over a crater of molten lava. Look, this is the earth one. Flames lit the walls and smoke was overhead. Then onto the earth cave. Here beautiful minerals were revealed, with stalactites glittering in the changing colours. A fountain rose and fell, accompanied by the smell of peat moors and music. The fourth cave water was lit by ultraviolet light. They must have been pretty big. You walked through a coral reef with glimpses of sea life, including fish and strange creatures. The Schweppes cave grotto overall was a tremendous visitor attraction, and nearly £10,000 was donated to the National Playing Fields Association from entry fees. What we have been unable to ascertain was whether the Schweppes grotto celebrated 100 years of bottling Schweppes Malvern water. Well, whatever it was completely over the top, and the fact that they built this grotto there, and there's quite a few bits of it still sort of remaining. And how in the name of God did they do it? And why? Why would they do such a huge thing? I'm thinking it was already there. It's a pyramid. It's insane. Anyway, it's just a little filler in. Oh, here's some of the artificial stuff. This is what it's looking like now. This is the bits I was walking past. Yeah? They say these rocks aren't Pulhamite. The complexity of the Schweppes grotto suggests that a substantial new structure would have been required over and above what was already on the site previously. We assume the grotto was removed and the area cleared after the Festival of Britain. This was not the case, as was apparent from the following testimony from the other side of the world in 2014. She remembers the four chambers, especially air and with the north, south, eastern winds, sound of the wind. She remembers a bridge across the molten lava. By this time it had seen better days, although I remember sound effects. I don't remember the aroma effects. Would love to have seen it in its former glory. I think many had forgotten it by the 60s and 70s. It was our little secret. So it was still around in the 60s and 70s when people were mooching about in there. There are also other grotto-like structures in the park. the lake landscape. And that's the bit that I find, the small grotto. All of these little features may well explain Lord Straboligi's remark in the House of Lords, cited earlier, indicating more than one grotto. So was Battersea Park just full of underground caves? This is really interesting, isn't it? Anyway, back to the film. Well, I can't find it. But there's something else quite interesting that I want to find, if I can find it. So this is like some sort of like arbour. Roses, it's just sort of stuck in the middle of here. Because they would have just wandered around in here, just walking about. More of these trees. And the mounded earth everywhere. I might actually be heading the way of that strange thing. See how... So they say they landscaped it and created all these rises and dips, but I strongly suspect that they dug down to create the landscaping, and it goes very down here where the lake is. So there's a lake here, and I'm not sure if it's man-made or what it is, but there's a pump house gallery that they're saying is Victorian, but I found photographs of it in mud, so we'll have a look at that. Oh, here it is, I found it. Here's the rocky crag. Okay, right. Harris? Sorry. So, here. They fenced it all off. Goes up. It's just scrub and nettles. And then up here, this old tree here, there's this rocky crag. Here, let me get in. Those ball things are on the tree. Alright, you can get up there. Up this side path here. Come! This is where my daughter noticed that these risers here, they look like trees. And they do, don't they? They do look like tree trunks. And they've used this stone here. Frankly, I'm just thinking now that the Victorians were masters of illusion. Masters of illusion. So, the grotto in Battersea Park was Schweppes Grotto, and I found some information about it, and it was made of this artificial stone which was so good that even geologists couldn't tell it apart from the real stuff, which is surprising because it was rubble and bricks and crap. So I'm guessing this was where the grotto was, and this is artificial stone, but I don't know, man. Sorry, the dog's pulling me. Don't pull, Paris. See? It goes quite a way along. And this bit here at the end actually does look as if it's artificial and starting to erode somewhat, get through the bars. but they were apparently really good at artificial. Artificial stone might be a cover for something anyway. I don't trust any bloody thing the Victorians say. But it's interesting, isn't it? So I'm glad I found that. So I'm going to go off and look for this mud pump, this pump house, pump house place. But it goes up and it goes down. But the Schweppes Grotto thing. People, there was an article about it and somebody said that it was a marvellous thing and he was surprised at all the tunnels, and are they all going to be used? He was surprised at all the tunnels and caves. So I don't know if the artificial stone was a lie, or they bought artificial stone in as well, or if it was all artificial stone. There's a building over there as well. Just see the roof of it. I'd like to get in here. But they probably, if it was the grotto, they probably fenced it all off because there's pit holes and holes in here. So, yeah. Beautiful day. Right, so this is going to be something to do with this grotto thing, isn't it? And you can see this is artificial stone. How anybody could not see this wasn't artificial stone. This here, you can see all the crap in it. And in here. So maybe this was the grotto. This is definitely artificial. Easy to see. Looks like a lot of the work that was done. Going up, have a look. So yeah, it goes all up here. Guessing this was the Schweppes Grotto. Some more of that artificial stone, which is pretty ghastly. Just looks like horrible, and they should get shot of it if you ask me. But just had a bit of a run in with some dogs. Bloody cut my hand, the dog's lead caught my knuckle. There's an ancient old tree here. Looking pretty rotten. And another dog. I've had enough for today, I'm going. Any parakeets? Parakeets in the park.